Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I am super excited to be here with my guest, Shantana Telise. She's going to tell you exactly who she is and what it is that she does and how she can help you. So, Shantana, take it away.
Well, hi, thank you for having me on your show. This is incredible. My name is Shantana Telise. I'm a psychic medium channeler, and I, oh my goodness, I've been doing this work for a really long time, and yeah. Then I went blank.
I was going to say, so tell us what brought you to this work? Because, some people are born doing it, some people aren't. But what was
Um,
the work that you did prior to doing this work?
I was in healthcare before. And then, but I've always kind of done this. Like I actually started, like I grew up a psychic child. I grew up waking up next to dead people, them hovering over my bed and staring down at me, and me being the weird kid. And like literally doors used to like open and close in my house because I just attracted everything. My parents didn't love that.
I can imagine.
They're like, oh yeah, Shantana's home.
Oh man.
Yeah. Um, but I was in healthcare and it didn't matter. Healthcare never sat with me. I always have felt a pull to doing energy. And actually, it was once I had my daughter, I really got into it. I started my Reiki journey and, really finding the light. Because when I was a kid, I actually thought I was evil because I'm seeing dead people and lights would flicker when I'd walk into rooms and, weird things would move and shit would happen. And I was always like, I'm evil.
Well, but that's what the TV tells you.
Right.
Yeah. Hmm.
But there wasn't anybody else really like me. Like I had family that were into like energy work. Like I have a really strong background of it actually. Like my grandfather did body balancing and all of that kind of stuff. My dad used to see things like it's been a part of my family. And I've just kind of pursued it to the point where this is like a serious passion for me. Like I love helping people. Now I actually am teaching people how to do mediumship, how to channel and and even like we started out building out businesses and now I help people channel through their offerings. And so I've really stepped into like the soul alignment of I'm a teacher, I'm a spiritual teacher and I'm not evil. But it was once I actually had my daughter that I opened up to it because I went and got a Reiki session done, and the lady told me that my daughter has all my same psychic abilities, and I'm not even kidding you. Every graveyard, every dead person that I've ever seen in my life flashed through my eyes, and I went, "Oh no!" And this time, my daughter was 1 years old, and I was horrified.
I
But
can imagine.
now though, I love it. And she's like, Mom, I never see dead people. And I'm like, good. It's because I clear
How you
this
do it? Look, you don't need to see him. That's traumatizing.
literally. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome though.
now I'm here and my kid's actually been a really big inspiration for me because having her and knowing that she's so much like me, I wanted her to really get to experience that light energy. And
Yes.
so I started my healing journey like 6, 7 years ago now. And here I am. Now I'm channeling through and helping people.
Wow. So did she ever get the dead people thing, or she's just psychic, or how does that work?
She actually is really psychic and she doesn't realize it because she's
Yeah.
only, what's my kid? My kid's 7.
Yeah.
And so she's really young, but she doesn't realize it because it's something that's just so normal in our house.
Right. Right.
And so like she'll be like, Mom, this friend is really mad at me and they think this about me. And she'll come home and say this to me. And that friend will be like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And I'm like, but I tune into that energy and you can feel it. And it's like, oh kid, you're reading them, but you have no idea. So she always says to me, she's like, Mom, I know you're psychic, but she's like, I'm not psychic. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you are. It's just
Yeah.
it gets to be natural for her and it gets to be light and just a natural state instead of something she has to hide from.
And that's a blessing if you think about it, because, yeah, most of us didn't. I mean, you had to hide that stuff, if you had any of those gifts, and you had to hide them. And then, you were always you're the weird kid, or
Yeah,
something.
I was the weird kid.
Me too. The weird kid. Okay. Oh, Lord. Here she goes. So being enlightened and being open and aware and awoke yourself so that you can guide this beautiful little human.
Yeah.
Because because what happens right about 7, right? Shuts down.
Really?
Yes. Yes. 7
I
is
didn't
that
know
age.
that.
Yeah, I was listening to Dr. Joe talk about that.
Oh, I had no idea
Yeah,
because
7 is the age. It's like
yeah,
that's when, and if you think about it, like it might not have happened for you because you were so in that space, but if you look
yeah.
at other people and see other kids, you know what I mean? You
Hmm.
can tell it's like a shift,
Yeah.
like the light went out all over the
Yeah.
world.
Actually, when I think about it, looking at some of the kids she goes to school with, yeah, that's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah, but if you have, if they have somebody like you that can help them and can guide them and can, hold the space for them, then it's all good. But yeah, they it's like they turn off. And I
Oh,
I didn't know that until I heard him say that, and I think somebody else was talking about it, but he was the one that stuck with me. And then I started thinking about my own kids, because my kids are, Lord, they're 32, 32, and 34, about to turn the next year. It's a new year.
yeah.
So I
Oh,
think about it. I think about it now. I think about them, at those ages, and I could see that. And where I was at the time, I was stuck in religion.
yeah.
So, they made my son get rid of his damn Pokemon things, cards and stuff,
Oh, yeah. I
because
don't.
that was the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, religion, we've never really ever.
Like, oh my God, really? And you think of it, it's so funny. I told him one day, I said, do you know what those cards would be worth if you still had them?
Right though?
Woo!
Seriously. See,
Right. You
mine's
know,
she sings at the top of her lungs, and now she's been hounding me. She's like, Mom, can you just activate the light language in me? She's like, I want to go to school and just talk light language and help my friends heal. And I'm just like, I know, and that's amazing of you. But at the same time, do you really want to be the weird kid?
right. But we feel that for them because that was it was us. So yeah, I was the same way. I was like, yeah, you might not want to share that.
That's most of our conversations. Maybe don't go to school and say that.
Yeah, I mean, because then the teacher will be calling me, and then I have to talk to her ass and put her in her place, and I don't want to do that.
I feel you. Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
I don't want to do that. I just, I want them to see me, as the kind mother, all
Mhm.
this and blah, blah, blah. But, I don't really want them to see that side of me. You don't want them to see that side of your mother.
No. I know my kids like, I didn't tell them what you do for work, but if because like they called me the other day, she went down the slide and got stuff on her pants, and they called me and asked if I could, and I was just about to go into a session, so I was like, sure, I have a few minutes, I'll run over. And she says to me when she's changing in the bathroom, she's like, don't worry, I didn't tell them what you do for a living because you're home and you're free and you're able to come. So just like, thank you, Nyla. Thank you.
And that was such a beautiful thing. I mean, for her to even be that thoughtful in that way.
Oh, she's very aware. Like that's why I'm so shocked that kids shut down at 7 because my I look at my daughter and she's very open. She's very aware. But
But
it's
you
a
got to think about who's raising her.
yeah,
I
I'm very
mean, I think those are the instances that other people are raising her and saying stuff like, you don't see nobody, imaginary friends. Who are you talking to?
you know what? A few years back, I had a friend stay with me and my daughter went to my dad's And it was just like this friend of mine and I home, and she's like, Shantana, I don't want to be in your daughter's bedroom because I was like, well, you can just sleep in her bed. It's fine. She's not here. She's like, I don't want to. She's like, I feel watched. I went into there, and like there's this little boy sitting in the closet, red eyes, staring at me. I'm like, okay,
I
okay.
could see that.
Yeah. Let me just clear this out for you.
That is
I'm
so
not sleeping in
cool.
that room.
That is so cool if you think about it, right?
Oh, I'm who they call when the really scary shit goes bump in the night. Like the really like because I'm so used to like I've seen so much as a child that I'm just like yeah, it doesn't faze me
Like
now.
nothing bothers you, right? You're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, it's
because
just
people
it's
get scared of spirits, and I'm like, honey, they don't have a body.
right.
Why are you afraid of them?
I did a house clearing once where this entire family was um sleeping in one room at night because something was terrorizing them. They were so petrified. I went and it was demonic and I was like, let me just clean this up. No wonder you're all petrified.
That's awesome that they even called you for that.
Oh yeah.
Because I
I got
mean, that's a thing, especially I
oh
think
yeah.
about it since like Ghostbusters.
I do so many house clearings and it's not even something that I really like offer like I offer it on my website, but it's not something that I'm like I
Like you
advertise.
don't push it out.
No, but when I get people and then I clear some of these places out and it's like, whoa, but the history that I get to see,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. And then they get this write-up of what I've picked up because it's so like that's honestly for doing mediumship, like it's not something I do for people because I
Mhm.
don't love it. Like I'm
Right.
gonna teach people, I teach people how to do it. Actually, my academy actually launches tomorrow or
Oh, awesome. So you
tomorrow.
want to share about that?
Well, yeah, for March 6th. It's tomorrow. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
that's tomorrow. Yeah. Holy shit is right. Because my mama's birthday is Saturday and I haven't got a card.
We should do that.
Well, I thought about it. I think I'm just gonna cash up her some money, because cash is king and that's what she likes anyway. And yeah, I don't have to bother with it because she's in Georgia and I'm in Washington State.
That's, oh, I'm in Canada, so I don't know
Are
how
you
far you
really?
are. Yeah,
What part?
Alberta.
I don't know. Is that on the East Coast or that's out here on the West?
South? It's southern. I don't know. I'm not, like, I don't know. I'm not geologically
So
really
what
great.
American city are you close to?
Montana would be the closest
Okay,
because
okay, yeah. So
where
you're
I grew up is like
more
right on the
Midwest.
border.
Okay, so you're more Midwest.
Yeah. So I've gone a little bit more. So
Wait, and they got Mormons up there?
Cardston is literally right beside the border and it's all Mormons. That's where I grew up. I'm not in Carson now, even like, but there's like they call it like the Mormon stretch. Like there's all these towns that are like Mormon. Even where I'm at is Mormon. And like where I grew up, they had the Mormon temple. Yeah.
Seen it. Never been in it, but I seen it.
I went into the Calgary one. I
Oh,
went with a friend when I was a kid. Yeah.
I thought they didn't let you in if you weren't.
They just built it. And so
Okay.
they did tours, but like the
Oh,
one in Carson I've never been in.
I was gonna say because I know somebody told me they changed that now because now they go around kind of like the Jehovah Witnesses and invite people to the church and stuff. At least here they doing it in Arizona they did.
Really?
Unless that girl was just hitting on my son. Because she came, we were sitting outside, and she came and she was like, hi, I'm whatever her name is from the Mormon church, and blah blah blah, and so I just want to invite you guys, and so I'm looking. My son looked at me, I looked at him, and we're like, do they really invite us in there?
I
But
just
she
tell them
did. She was like, I want to invite you guys, because the church was like right across the street, down the street or something. And they're like, oh, we want to invite you guys. And so I'm looking, my son's looking at it, we're like, Okay, so my son, he's pretty kind, and she was kind of his type at that time. So I said, So later on, yeah, Ma, I actually went out with that girl. I said, you did? He said, yeah. So it was quite interesting. But I was like, okay, yeah, all right, whatever. But anyway, let's move on. So when you felt the call to like go head first into this, like really, make this a career.
Mhm.
When you felt that call, what did it feel like?
Honestly, I would say it happened a couple years, I would say 2, 3 years ago where it was like, no, I actually am supposed to be doing this. And Spirit brought me my very first course. It's called Elemental Healing. And we it was just such a natural thing because all of a sudden it was like all this intuitiveness just started hitting. Like it was all about how you like working with the elements and how much of a spiritual practice that is. And it it was so much fun creating it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it took me months, like months to create it. And actually, I was in a spiritual group and I was answering some girl's question she had in someone's post. Like I just randomly seen it and I was like, oh, if you think about the elements, blah, blah, blah. Like it was so intuitive, but it was just like a calling. And then from there, it was like, but I guess prior to that, like spirit guided me to one of my teachers, like all has always brought me teachers. And my channeling teacher, like it was quite a few years ago, I learned from her. And so it was like I knew how to channel because I didn't know it was channeling until like I'd actually like seen her talk about it. And I was like, whoa,
So
that's what
you
I'm,
had already been doing that.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
had no idea.
That was me. It's like I've already been doing this. Is like not new to me. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know it had a name.
Yes, that was me. I didn't know it had a name, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, I'm doing this. And I actually won. She did a scholarship she did a contest, and I just commented on the videos. I didn't even know she was doing a contest. I just commented, and she just said, whoever spirit guides stand out, and I won. And that's what started the channeling journey. And then I didn't really do a whole lot to it. And then all of a sudden, spirit was like, no, you need to, Shantana. Like they came to me and they were like, you need to actually be doing this. This is something that's really important. And so started helping me create elemental healing.
Mm.
And that was when I went and got my website done. And it just kind of like built itself. But at the time I was still in healthcare. And I just kind of went with it. And it was just so natural. And so a couple years ago was when I really dove into it because like I left my ex, like what spirit told me to. That's
Yes.
like it's time to leave. So I just started packing. I left.
I love it.
Nobody saw it coming, but it was like they were like, it's time to go. And so I've been here where I'm at for a couple years. And in the time of being here, like I've gone so gung-ho, like I've created so many different sessions, so many different programs and courses and memberships. And like, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, when did I do all this? Like it just happened. It just birthed itself. And now I'm like, it took me a month to create the Divine Channeling Academy. And so now
So it
here I
just
am.
it just grew out. It just grew out of you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. It's like it flowed out of you. And so what that brings me to is you're super in touch with your divine feminine.
Thank you. That is a really big compliment. 'Cause sometimes I have to ask myself, am I in my feminine or am I in
Yeah,
my masculine? Well, thank
yeah, you
you.
are. You're in alignment. Like I can feel the balance. Even when you were talking, I was like, she is in her space. She's in alignment. Your
I love
masculine and
that.
your
Yeah.
feminine are doing what they're supposed to do. Because that takes flow. What you just talked about. It's a
Yeah.
flow thing. I was sharing that with another friend of mine, and I was like, um, you realize that you channeled that book. She just wrote a book, like an ebook. And I said, you
Yeah.
realize you channeled that book because it came out of her so fast. It's like one day she said she was going to do it, and then like a couple of days later she did it. and I was sharing that with her. I said, you channeled it. I said, I can tell you why. I know, because I channeled my book. I said, I wrote it in 30 days.
That's amazing.
Whole real book on Amazon. I'm like, because it just flowed out of me. I just
Yeah.
got on the computer and just started typing and everything just flowed, and it did. And even down to how it did, because I didn't even do I don't think I did like a chapter thing or none of that. I just
Oh,
started writing.
really?
Yeah, I didn't. I did. I got an outline. Like I sat with the girl and she did an outline for me, and so I kind of went by the outline, but I didn't like put it. Some of it was intermingled because it was my story,
Yeah.
and I had to actually channel it so I could remember it, because I had repressed a lot of that shit because it was hard stuff.
Oh,
I had just pushed it down, and not thought about it anymore, because I didn't even realize until I was looking at the video the other day that we did for like the launch of the book. And the girl said, she said, I was watching you, and the way that you described that situation, she said, I was like, damn, is this girl still, in trauma, or, what is this? Because I just described it like I was talking about somebody else's life, but it was mine,
I love
and then that's when I realized later on that I channeled that book, because I don't think it was any other way for me to write that, because it was a lot of trauma and a lot of pain and a lot of shit that I hadn't thought about for years, because I wrote it. I had already been divorced for a few years. And matter of fact, when I wrote it, I was already remarried.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
That's
I was
amazing.
like, okay, yeah, I have my starter husband now. I got a professional one.
You what, sorry?
I said I had my starter husband and now I have a professional one.
I love
Don't you love it? So you had your
that.
starter one, so now you just waiting on your professional one?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've never actually been married. I would like
Okay,
to.
okay,
I
okay.
only want to get married one time,
Oh, well, that's
but I
good.
got told that's my goal. But I got told from Spirit that this year I will, in the next, I went to a psychic actually, and she told me that in the next 2 years she sees me. I know, because I can do psychic readings for other people, but I can't do them for myself.
Of course not. I mean, if you think about it, masseuses can't massage, they can't massage their back.
No.
Doctors need other doctors. I mean, you need somebody outside of you that can see, because you can't. It's like
Yeah.
you can see for everybody else. I mean, I can tell everybody else, well, hey, maybe you should blah, 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 maybe this is a direction you should go. But when I'm trying to deal with my own stuff, it's like, shit. Which way do I go? Which way do I go? But yeah. So you got a word you were going to get. It's your
Married
time.
in the next couple of, and well, I guess less time now, but like within the next 2 years. And then, but Spirit, they've already been bringing like this person to me energetically. And let me tell you, I needed to level up hard to be, I totally get everything because I'm excited.
I'm excited for you, because that feels so good. Because it's like, okay, for me, I I asked God for a husband, because I was young when I got divorced. I was young when I got married. Um, and I said, well, I don't want to be alone the rest of my life. My kids were already grown. So I was like, they were gone. My kids, they took the fuck off. They didn't, they weren't living with me till they were in their 20s and 30s. Nah, they gone. My kids live in different states. So I said, okay. And so I asked, I was like, I want a man that, loves God, not religious, but
Mhm.
loves God. I said, because I feel like if he loves God, then God will show him how to love me.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
that is exactly perfect. And he's intuitive, my husband, and he puts up with my shit and he spoils me. And so I feel like I've been blessed, and I had no desire to get married more than once either. And with this one, I stayed with him 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, 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 yeah. I tried hard, but it just wasn't, it wasn't. Mm-mm. So I think about that, and it's like, okay. So when I see people like, and funny thing is that was what happened to me. I had a girl, now she was a prophetess, and she told me it was December of 2012. She said, "Your husband is coming." She said, "And it's not gonna be long." And I said, "I'm not looking for no man, especially not one I call husband. I'm not interested. I don't even want that right now. I need to, I'm working on me. I need to get myself together. I need to know who I am." I said, because I've been, somebody's wife. I said, and then I was somebody's mother,
Yeah.
somebody else's mother, and then I was somebody else's mother. And so I was like, I need to know who I am, at my core. What do I even want, and what do I want out of this life? That's where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started having these other extra experiences, started learning about energy and all that stuff. And then I had a guy that he was one of my first mentors. He was awesome. I can't find him now, but he taught me about flower remedies, and he taught me about energy and all this stuff. And so I was like, okay. And then he was the one that told me, he said, "You are hella gifted." And I'm like, "What you talking about, Willis?" so so then I went down that on that journey, and I started, taking classes and, all this stuff, courses, and reading books and watching
Yeah.
YouTube, going to YouTube University, and, finding different people I could resonate with and all of that. And so, I feel like that's brought us here to this space and this journey. And so
Yeah.
for you, how does it feel like when you look at, the trajectory that your life took? Can you see how things were like weaving as you came along, even if you were going through,
Oh
because
yeah.
I can imagine, when you had your breakup, I can imagine that was like difficult. You know what I mean? No?
I think I was ready and I didn't realize it. But I even looked at that relationship. Like I have sat back and analyzed because that was a completely different life. Like I
Yeah.
don't live that life anymore. And so I've actually just sat back and analyzed and I'm going, okay, like being in that relationship, I got my level 1 Reiki before I got with that person. I met him the day that I got my level 2 Reiki. And then I got my Merkaba activated because his aunt. And then I didn't like the lady that did my Reiki 1 and 2 because I learned absolutely nothing from her. But I had a mentor who was in Saskatchewan. And because his family was in Saskatchewan, that opened it so that I could go there and learn get my master teacher from her, and she even said to me for years, because I've worked with her for years at that point, I don't now, but she said to me, Shantana, you're going to do so much more than this. Like Reiki's not your calling. And I've always known that, but it was a
Yeah.
tool that I needed to help me open back up. And like, even all the rest, like when I was with my daughter's biological father, um I shut myself down being with him, and everything started falling apart and ripped apart because spirit knew, and spirit was like no, and like there was no way of us ever being together because I was trying to suppress who I truly am.
Yes.
And then when I met my ex that I left a couple years ago, it was just like, okay, I learned all this, and I really got to have that space to open myself. So there was the good and the bad, and I got to learn from it, and it was all a learning experience. And then last year, Spirit brought me somebody that changed my entire life. And I look at this man and I'm just like, whoa, like they're gonna have to bring me someone really great to top that because
Oh, they
he
will.
Oh yeah. But he really helped me. And I think in my spiritual journey, even though we were just together and he wasn't on his spiritual journey, but he was open to it, he really helped me with my confidence and loving myself and seeing myself worth more than like, because my aunts were always like, well, you're really good. Like I have a really good support system with my aunts. They're like, well, like you're really good. Like just be confident. Like you are, like you're really good at what you do. And I was like, yes, I know that. But then when having that validation from a man, I don't know. I know it probably sounds bad, but it's different.
Um, no, it actually sounds about normal, because that's the society that we live in. We live in the patriarchal society, and that is where we are. And it's not, I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like it's shifting,
Yeah.
but if you think about it, I mean, we've been inundated with it,
Yeah.
vision, marketing, all of
Hmm.
this, and I always think about that commercial from years ago, probably before you were born, about the never never having to forget you had a man, and you fry it, bring him the bacon and fry it up in the pan. Yeah, it was like a I think it was like a Virginia Slims commercial or something like that. From years, yeah, it was years ago,
Before.
probably 70s, like that.
Oh, way
Maybe,
before.
yeah, it was. I remember that commercial because she'd be like, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never, 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 never let you forget you a man, because I'm a woman. So anyway, but this is what we saw. You know, you
Yeah.
this is what we saw. You're working and you're bringing in your own money, but you still looking to this man for validation.
Yeah. But
And
it's
that's
a soul connection. And
yeah.
I went into the Akashic records and I learned this is like our eighth lifetime
Oh
together.
wow, oh wow.
Yeah. But this was the end. This is our last lifetime that we'll have together because it was the end of a lot of karmic bad cycles. And so it was a very short time we had together in this lifetime because it needed to be end and he needed to help me grow and hit those milestones that I needed to, because now I show up and I'm just like, yeah, I'm awesome. Thank you
I
very
was
much.
gonna say I'm so. I tell you what, I had actually that type of situation before I met my husband. And there was a man that I met, and I realize now why he came into my life. I was with him for a couple of years, and it was after my divorce. Well, before I got divorced, but when because we just split up. We were split up for a couple of years because neither one of us wanted to pay for the damn divorce. He didn't want
Oh,
to pay. I didn't want to pay. And finally, I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's end this. He was already with somebody else. And so I
yeah.
was like, but he came and I realized that he had a purpose. He was like, to me, he was like, the forerunner, and I always think about this because my grandmother always used to say, she said, the counterfeit will come before the real. And I said, oh, okay.
That.
And so I thought about it because this man, he actually, it's like he built me up because I was so broken.
Yeah.
This other one was so abusive, emotionally, and he would, call me names, talk to me like shit. And so this one came in and he treated me like a queen, like I knew I was supposed to be treated. He did stuff for me that nobody else ever had. Like he would get my hair done every week, my nails done every month. If I needed anything, he had it. He'd take me on trips, all that kind of stuff. I could call him and say, hey, can you swing by and pay my light bill?
Really?
Yeah, I'm rotten. And he taught me that I'm supposed to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's crazy because he was also retired military, and my husband now is retired military. Because that was one of the things that I called in too, because in America, we got to have our own health insurance. So I called in a man with some good benefits because I knew that I was getting older. I was like, I've never been like really sickly. I've been to the doctor more in the last year than I've been all my life. But, I was like, I'm getting older, so I need some health insurance, and I don't like to work jobs.
Yeah.
I don't like to have to stay at one because of some damn insurance.
Oh,
When
yeah.
it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I don't care. I'd be like, I don't have, what, it'll be all right. Shit, if I get sick, I'll go my ass to the hospital. They can bill me. I'm not gonna worry about it. But I was like, this is what I was calling in. So, I realized that because this other one, I'm telling you, it's the craziest thing. They were like around about the same ages. That one was, I think, about a year younger than this one. Same type of, both military retired, both, the way that they treat me and the way that the type of men that they were, like they were, both of them were in touch with their feminine, but they were also men. They
Yes.
were mans.
I like
They were
that.
alpha for sure.
That's what I'm calling in.
And that's what I needed. Because otherwise I will jump right the fuck in my divine masculine. I'll jump right in there and that'll be that.
Yep.
Because it was what I was used to because I didn't have that the first time.
Oh, yeah.
But I got that with this one that was the counterfeit, and he was,
Mhm.
he was a good guy. He was good to me. He had some other issues that I couldn't do. but he was good to me, and he taught me how I was supposed to be treated.
That's exactly what I just learned from my previous, like exactly how I'm supposed to be treated. Treated me like a princess.
Yeah. So you're not going to put up with anything less.
But I got the divine feminine, yes, because I have always been in my divine masculine
Yes.
until I met him and he was very alpha male. And all of a sudden it was like, I get to be in my feminine. And it's the most empowering thing ever. And
What?
now,
It feels so good.
yeah. And now I'm like, I won't settle for anything less. And I've been on dating sites and I'm just like, nope, nope, nope. I'm so picky, but it's like, I don't
You're
even really
supposed to be.
exactly. But I don't have to like worry because I'm just like, I already know the universe is taking care of it. So I got nothing to worry about. Like I
That
just
is,
get to,
that's so empowering, and I love the way you said that. I'm good.
yeah,
I know the universe has this taken care of. I don't even have to worry about it. But I'll go on these dates, and talk to these guys because
I won't.
you know.
No, I got asked out on a date last night and he was like, well, we've liked each other on how many dating sites now? And he follows my Snapchat. And I was just like, because I didn't realize who he was when I'd matched with him again, because I've talked to him a couple of years ago. And I was like, yeah, sorry, dude. He's like, well, we might as well meet. And I'm like, no, I'm not for you. I was like, you're this, I'm this. No, sorry, I'm good. But he's like,
What
well,
you say? He's not jelly in your peanut butter. He's mayonnaise.
I hate mayonnaise.
Me
But
too.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, you know what? I eat mayonnaise just like a little bit in the salad. If I'm making like a potato salad or a tuna salad, just enough to make it gel together, but
Yeah.
not over the top. And I'm not gonna put it on like sandwiches. It's disgusting. No.
I use ranch.
I didn't
I
think
will
about
not.
that.
Seriously, still like just do some pickles, some tuna, and some ranch. Oh, it's crack.
I'm gonna try that.
So good. My
Yeah,
mom.
because I typically okay, so for me, Mr. Rogers, I went to the mayonnaise factory with Mr. Rogers. You remember Mr. Rogers? Yeah. So I went to the mayonnaise factory with him, on his show. I was watching. But you know how he
Oh,
used to take us places, right?
oh yeah,
So he
yeah.
took us to the mayonnaise factory this particular day. I was a teenager, but I had younger brothers and sisters I used to watch. So we were all sitting there watching Mr. Rogers. I love Mr. Rogers. So we're sitting there watching Mr. Rogers, and he said, "Come on, let's go to the mayonnaise factory." So we went to the mayonnaise factory. Girl, they showed me all the shit that they put in the mayonnaise. I said, "I don't think so. I am never eating that again." And I was like 14, 15. I was at that age where I was doing yoga and I was, working out and I was trying to eat better. And, I thought I might be a vegan or some shit, which that's bullshit. No. And so I was like, I was like, I was like, okay. So, yeah. So after we saw all the crap in the mayonnaise, I was like, I'm not putting that in my body.
Nope.
Eggs and all the oil and no.
Good. Yeah. I don't like ketchup either though, so.
That I eat a little bit of, but I'm allergic to tomatoes. So if it's real ketchup, it breaks me out, which is
Oh,
crazy, right? Yeah.
yeah. See, but going back into like my mindset, even with
Yeah.
my business, like I have been doing like I listen to subliminals when I sleep every night. I just play
Mm.
it. I just flip my phone over so I don't have to see the screen while it plays. And I listen to like even affirmations and like empowerment stuff so that my mindset has especially in the last couple months, because I've been consistently doing this, has changed so much. And it's
Yes.
really helped in my business because I have stepped back into like that, what is it? The law of detachment. It is so
Yes.
important. And I never understood it before because it's like, well, how can you detach if you have emotions? But now it's just like, no, there's like this line of spirits got you and law of detachment. And then what is the other one that I follow? The law of assumption.
I was getting ready to say that is my favorite one.
I love,
Assumption and expectation and circulation.
yes, I
Yes.
love that.
So
So
tell the people a little bit about the law of detachment. Because I know a lot of people, everybody hears about the law of
A law of
uh
attraction.
attraction.
But that's not the most important one because it's not very
No.
clear. Because like
Well,
it's
no,
all
it's
like
not.
because when you're manifesting, and I have a program that I did last year, like where I taught manifesting, and I'm even teaching it a bit in my new program so that because like it coincides with everything energetic. Like it's so important.
Yes.
So like the law of
Yes.
attraction, it's like, oh, you just got to believe it, like see it and attract it. And but if you're not on the same like level and it's up here and you're here, how are you supposed to attract that? Stop putting it on a freaking pedestal and start being at the same vibrational level of it. And that's where the law of detachment really comes into handy. Because if you're like, well, this universe has my back already, and you start, they call it living in the end. I don't know if you watched like Joe Dispenza. I think it's
Oh,
him.
girl, that's Devil Goddard. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they talk about living in the end. I've been talking,
Yes.
watching
I
both of them.
love that because I have lived there.
Yeah,
Because I
that's
used to leave
cool.
my, I don't know about you, but I used to leave my body when I was young, even older, even. I would just leave my body and I didn't realize I was doing that until somebody called me out on it in a psychic reading. But yeah, so I was doing that. I love that one because I would live there. I would just leave and go,
Yes,
someplace else.
you have to
That
be in
was
the present
happy.
moment.
Yes.
So you have to, so you got to like detach. So like when I do this meditation with, it's one of Joe Dispenza's, and it's like, it's just a manifestation one where you're like
Oh,
doing it.
girl, I can't do him. I can't tolerate his voice.
Oh, well, if it's
In,
his
in
voice.
in meditations. Like I listen to his stuff. I've actually got started really getting into it lately. So
Yeah.
that's why I know that I had a shift because I couldn't really hardly fucking understand him honestly for a while. He was
You
just
very
way too deep for me. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm not supposed to understand this. But all of a
not
sudden, one day I pulled it out, I turned it on YouTube, and he was saying some stuff. I was like, damn, that makes sense. So I was like, okay, I know that I'm in the shift. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But his meditations, oh girl, his voice it just fucking irritates. I can't take it. I had a friend
Well,
of mine that loved him too. She's like, oh, I love that. Have you done that Joe's meditation? I was like, girl, how do you stand it? His voice, it's like,
I didn't like a lot of his because I'm like, what's the point? But one of my aunts finally, she's like, it's just about being in the present moment. That's all it
yeah,
is. And that's where like you have to detach, but you have like and living in the end, but bring that end into your physical reality. Because I was standing in my kitchen one morning getting my kid ready for school. And after like a month of doing these meditations, like I was religiously like I've been on it. And all of a sudden it was just like this reality that I was shown that is so amazing, everything I've been wanting. And all of a sudden, I'm standing in my kitchen, just getting my kid ready. And all of a sudden, this energy of it hits me so hard. I was like, I'm doing something right because I'm grounding that energy back into the present moment. And that's the key. And then remembering the emotions from that reality that you're shown and bringing it back to now so that you have something to consistently remind your body, remind your consciousness that
yes,
it is that amazing, it is that easy, it is that great. It's yours, just let it be. And then you're not,
man,
and then you don't have to step into that desperation because this is a really big one that I've been talking about. Is like the second you go, like when you're manifesting, and the second you slip into that desperate energy, you
yes,
have to step back.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like I did it the other night and I was like, I have to record because like the people need to know. Like you have to step back. Like, cause spirit will be like, no, quit, stop, do not proceed. Because like, especially with launching, you know how scary launching is? Like, what if nobody signs?
yes. What if I do all this stuff and then nobody fucking shows up? Look, or
Yes,
why am I sitting here talking to my damn self?
right. But if you detach from that and then the second you go, well, what if you instantly victimize yourself? And so then that's when you have to like, okay, now I need to step back. And my guides were like, you need to meditate and you need to meditate right now to get your mind back to being in that positive space because the longer you can hold that vibration of that positive space, the better. And
Yes,
so it was just like instantly the second you slip up into victim mode, it's like you have to.
yeah,
So, and the more that you can stay out of the victim mode And it's not detaching where it's like, yeah, I don't care. It's detaching of I already know it's mine, so I don't have to worry. And then
Yes.
it flows. So it's been a really big mindset practice that I've been,
That is the journey though.
yes.
Because it's like, because I've been having that same thing, because I've been, on YouTube every day. Like I post a video on YouTube every single day. Either I post it or I do a live. So
Yeah.
I was doing lives because they're easier for me, because I just flow. I rarely ever have like notes unless it's something I'm, just learning or whatever. But like I was doing the chakras and I'm doing it out of Cindy Dale's book, and just going over that. But I'm also, putting in, the stuff and everything and telling the stories and whatnot. And so I was like, okay. And so the other day I was like, yeah, I really need to, post something. I need to put something out there. I need to either put some shorts up there or I need to do a video, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then I was sitting down and I heard the same thing. It was like, you need to meditate before you get up on that thing.
Yes.
Sit down. So I just lit a candle, and I did my meditation. I called in my guides and all this stuff. And I was like, I need y'all to open up the doors and open up the windows and blah, blah, blah. And when I did that live, girl, it was so good. And I think it was only 15 or 20 minutes, but it was so good. Like I felt it.
That's what you want.
And that was the key for me. It was like, oh God, I feel this,
Yes.
because I did. And I was like, and I was almost at a place where I said, I don't even really give a shit if anybody sees this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt good doing it and putting it out there into the world. And I know that the people that are supposed to see it, they're going to see it.
Yes.
That's what's happening. And so I understand that space. It's like, oh my God, because I've been like you. I've been meditating and sitting in the damn power every fucking day, meditating 2 and 3, 4 times a day. Cause I'm not one of those people that can do it for an hour. I just can't do it.
I love it. I'm like, oh, an hour's passed. I felt like that's been 5 minutes.
Yeah, no. I'm like a good solid 30, 45 girl. I mean, I typically do 5 and 10 and 15 meditations. But then I also do stuff like while I'm washing dishes, I'm meditating.
Yeah. Oh,
And when I get in the tub, that's my sacred space. So
yes.
I get in the tub and I meditate there and I talk to my guides and I, call in. I read this book called Hiring from the Heavens. And so I started hiring from the heavens.
I love that.
Just she said you just set your intention and you call them in and say, she said, I need a spiritual clothing person. She was like, because I need some new clothes and I get frustrated when I go to the store and da da da. And so she was like, I hired a spiritual clothing person. And then she said, somebody lost a stone out of their ring, and so they hired a spiritual sleuth, and stuff like that. And I was like, that is so cool. So I've been kind of practicing and playing in that energy.
I love that. It's like
Yeah.
people don't realize you have a spirit guide, an angel, a being that's for literally every single aspect of your life. And not
Yes.
a good one, like for everything. You just have to ask, you have to call them in because spirit guides, they have to follow universal laws where they cannot interfere with your free will unless you ask them. So you have to ask them, hey,
Yes.
help me.
Right. Don't you see me struggling right here? I need some help.
I would say, please bring into my life whatever's for my highest good, and
Yeah.
please remove from my life whatever's not every day. And seriously, the transformation just from that simple saying is huge because all of a sudden people are dropping, like I told you about my ex. Like he was taken out of my life, and it was just like one day he was there, and the next it was just like gone, back in Texas, done.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Like,
See, and
what?
and, and, and you said it that way, and you know how I said it when I got ready to go across the country because I was in South Carolina and I moved to Arizona. Yeah.
Good.
And what I said was, I said to Spirit, I said, I need you to shut doors that need to be shut and open doors that need to be open.
Yes.
And when I tell you, every single fucking door that I thought could open, shut. Like it was like,
How it is.
girl, it was like no No issues with that. I mean, every single door, every single one. Like I was like, oh my God, I really do have to go because I had gotten the call from spirit to that it was time for me to leave this place. And when I asked about it, because I was like, well, what does that even mean? But when I asked about it, it was like this physical place, this spiritual place, this emotional place, this mental place, all the places. It was time for me to leave those spaces.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So yeah, I went across the country with $500 and an astronomical car note. And I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do, but I didn't think about it. I said, it's time for me to go. Gotta go. No.
It's crazy how spirit will make things happen when it's time.
Yeah.
A couple years back when I left my ex and like they told me, okay, it's time ready to go. I remember distinctly driving down the highway and they were saying, we have a home for you. And it was just, and then like 11 days later, I got a call. Do you want this place? Sure. Love it. Thank you. It was so simple.
See, and it can be that way. And that, I don't know about you, but that's what I want to teach people.
Sorry,
That it
just like
can be that way. That simple.
it is
You
that
know
simple,
what?
but it's
Yeah.
mindset.
Yes. Because it's like, it doesn't have to be hard. And then the thing also that I feel called to is, telling people it doesn't have to be hard. But telling people you don't have to meditate with your fucking feet on the floor. You can meditate laying down.
Yeah. You
Because
can
because
meditate.
they put people like in a box and just make them, because people say, oh, I can't meditate. Well, and I say, well, why can't you meditate? Well, I can't quiet my mind. I said, wait, what? And I'm like, okay, so let me tell you something, just so we can be on the up and up. My brain's always working. It is always working. My mind does not get quieted. I said, you have to train yourself and you have to allow those thoughts to come. You just can't grab hold of them, and I explain it like this. I said, it's like, I said, I think about it like Dory, finding Dory, it's like, the things are swimming by you. The fish is swimming, the dolphins are swimming, the sharks are swimming, the whales are swimming, all that stuff. But you don't grab hold of them. You just let them swim and you keep swimming,
Yes.
and I was like, that was like the most amazing analogy that came with.
I love that.
Right? Because I'm like, you just keep swimming. You just don't grab a hold of it. You let them go. You don't go and sit in them. You don't go, think about what you got to, what you're going to eat and, what you're going to do tomorrow or what happened at work, all these things. I said, you just let them keep going,
Yeah.
and you do what you do. So, yeah. So, all right. So, I want you to share if you have, you could talk about your academy, that you have launching and opening, anything that you're doing, that you're taking people or, whatever. Make sure you share your group because it's phenomenal.
Well, thank
Path to
you.
Prosperity, right?
Yeah, I get a lot of compliments on it.
It's amazing. I honestly, you just kind of popped up on my radar. So you must have been calling. Because you did. One day I seen you on the Facebook and I wasn't even in your group and I was like, well, who's this girl? I really like what she's saying. I was like, I'm gonna have to go find her. So, I started doing the sleuth thing and I started stalking you a little bit.
Yeah, that is how we find the best people. We
Right?
don't
I
listen.
was
Yeah.
like what she's saying. She's not saying the same old bullshit. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there.
I know what I'm talking about. I
You
can
know
give a
exactly,
shout out.
you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like,
Yeah.
because there's so much regurgitated stuff in this community.
Yeah.
Like,
But
sometimes I think just maybe put your spin on it too. You know what I mean? It's
yes.
like, don't just take the AI thing, put some of your shit in there.
Yeah.
It's like, don't copy and paste just what AI says. I mean, make it yours.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So
But
anyway,
I don't know. I think there is a lot in the community that says it, but what I love doing, like I used to not follow anybody. Like literally I channeled so much of what I've learned from spirit. And that's why I
yes.
teaching people how to channel now because I actually didn't want to. This is the funniest part. I was on a completely different path in 2023. And then at the end of 2023, they brought me this program because I channel everything that I've on my website. It's all channeled through. And I wasn't going to do what I'm doing now, but they brought me a course it was like the second addition to my elemental healing course that I created years ago. And they were like, okay, so I still have that all laid out in my notebook. But then when we actually got into 2024, it was like the very end of 23. They were like, you're going to open an academy. And so they're like, get posters. And so I literally sat during Christmas. I just started like writing things down of what I know. And I'm like, okay, guys, like, what are we doing? And then it was Isis that actually came to me, Goddess Isis.
Yes.
And she was like, okay. And she was coming to me for months and months and months and months prior. I love that. I don't have those. I have a lot of cards. I don't have
These
those.
are amazing.
But she came to me and she was like, Shantana, you need to be teaching people how to channel. And she brought me this layout of the Divine Channeling Academy. And I was going to call it something else originally, but it sounded too artsy. So we kind of changed it up. And it started out as a 6-month program when I started doing the actual layout of it. And I was like, I don't think I can teach everything that you're telling me in this 6 months. And so then it turned into 9 months. And we're going over mediumship. I'm teaching how to do automatic writing, how to do light language, how to do indirect channeling, how to do trance channeling. We're channeling the Akashic records, channeling their business. And it's like, there's so much to it. But when I was doing it, I was like, I never wanted to like copy, like, because I have had spiritual teachers. And so I'm like, I don't want to copy. And she gave me shit. Let me tell you, she laid into me because they're like, no, you are supposed to be doing this. This is your soul. Because I've had a feeling that I'm supposed to be teaching channeling for quite a few years now.
Right.
But I didn't want to copy because there's so many others out there that do
The
it. And right. And so I was like, I don't want to, I don't want to copy. I don't want someone coming at me and being like, oh, well, so she's like, no, Shantana, there's more than one way and you're channeling this. So like there's psychic activations, there's all this stuff in it. And it's just like, it just can't, I finished channeling this program in a month. Like I literally,
um
all 9 months of content, 1 month.
so I saw that shift. I saw it.
The shift.
Yeah, the shift in you when you went to that space where you're ready to do what they're telling you to do. And so it was able to flow through you. I saw
Yeah.
it. I saw it. I was like, because when I reached out to you this time, I said, this girl is she on point. I said,
Yes.
and I need her on my virtual couch before she blow the fuck up. I don't have time for
But
the little people.
right? But seriously, my social media has been blowing up. Like my group has been like my Path to Prosperity group. It is like I've hit over 1,000 members now. Like it's
I
just
saw that because I think I came in about maybe around 500 or something.
yeah.
I'm
It
like, dang it.
I am a go-getter, that's for sure. But I have spirit on my side, and I'm not even kidding you. Like doing the launch, we launched, what was it? The Abundance Mastermind last year. And I hired somebody to help me with it, but it felt so forced the
Yeah.
whole time because I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm also going, but I'm supposed to be trusting spirit. And they brought this person. So like she showed me a lot. Like I learned a lot from her. But this time launching, and I've been doing it all myself, every bit of content that I've stuck out, even down to like how it's going out, they told me like start posting readings, start doing little clippets of light language, start doing this, get on TikTok, cross post all platforms, grow your group. Like every time I'm supposed to make a move on anything, they have been like, now do this, now do this. And it's all been in like when I'm supposed to do it. Cause now I'm even doing,
That is awesome.
right? 15-minute discovery calls to see if the Divine Channeling Academy would be a good fit. They were like the other day,
15 minutes.
yeah, just
Girl, how do you even do that?
because it's not like doing
It's not like a sales call.
it is a sales call.
Okay.
Because I did sales calls last year And it was like the way she was advertising didn't really go flow with me, because she was telling people that, oh, book a free 15-minute reading, and it was false. And I'm very authentic, and so
Yes.
that didn't go well with me.
Hmm.
But this time I'm like, these, all of a sudden they're like, no, do this, and you're gonna just see if that's a good match for them, and only the people that actually are interested in this academy and have questions or anything like that, or need anything, that those are the ones that are going to come in and book them, not just
So
for.
these are people. So these are people that you probably have already talked to, like in the DMs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So it's like you already prepared them. You already kind of have an idea anyway, but really
Mhm.
it's like a connection call to make sure that they're aligned.
Yeah, just because one thing that I will honestly say is, anytime I have somebody come into, I don't care what it is, if it is not in alignment with them, I will be honest with them. If their spirit guides come to me and they say, no, do not, this is not for them, whether it be at this time or at all, I
Or
will be,
maybe you're not the one.
yeah, that exactly. Like, I will be straight up and honest. Like, look, like, I get that you've seen me, but unfortunately we're not meant to be. And I have told people that we're not meant to work together. And then I've even told people, like, they're like, I don't want to work, like they don't want to do something. I'm like, I don't know why you were brought to me then, because your guides are saying you need this. So sometimes it gets confusing, because then I have resistance from the ones that are actually supposed to be doing it. I'm like, can my team, can you just make this a little bit.
Clearer. Um, I actually, that's one of the things that I say to my team. I say, um, I need things to be easy. I don't want them to be hard. I don't want to have to fight nothing. I don't want to have to struggle, because you know what? I done fought all my life.
Yes.
I done
But
fought all my life. I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. I said,
yeah.
especially not in something that I'm being called to do. And like you, I just, I mean, I ran for years from all of this shit. I
Mhm.
was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to, I don't want to do it. Because even like, even in the church, they call me a prophetess, right? But now I'm the devil because I'm not in the church.
Yeah, I've been called a false prophet too. So
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm like, okay, but I didn't want to do it, but it started just really calling me. And the same thing with the teaching and stuff, because like I was doing different things and I was like, but I really enjoy the teaching part. I do. I love it. And so I was like, that's what I need to do. And I was like, all right. And so as I started like hearing and I started listening, I started fucking doing what they said, because they were like, reach out to this one, or look at that, or showing me things and all that. And then I had to get to that place where I stopped listening to everybody.
mhm.
Like I have a few people that I watch some of their stuff or whatever, but I am at this space now where I'm meditating and I'm getting my own guidance, channeling
Yeah.
for myself, and also doing things that I enjoy, and not listening to all these fucking coaches telling you, oh, that was so 2000. This is 2024. Those things aren't working. Blah 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 blah. And you're like, but I want to try that because this is the guidance I'm getting.
Yes.
It might not work for you, and it might take a little bit for it to work for me, but I know that it's working,
Mhm.
because it's the guidance that I got, and it feels aligned to me. Same thing like with the prices and stuff, because I think you and I had a conversation, and this was what made me really feel so connected to you. And we had that conversation online that day when there was nobody asking questions. And I asked you about pricing. And I said, sometimes, I feel like, maybe my pricing isn't enough. And at that time it wasn't. I did go up some, on the pricing and stuff. But once I did, you said, well, you know what? Feel into it and see what feels aligned to you. And don't think about anybody else.
Yeah.
That's what you said. You said
Remember
feel
that
and
conversation now.
yeah, because I was like, well, I just, because people were telling me, because I had all these people in my ear telling me, oh, well, you need to charge this, you need to charge, $1,000 for a session, and, you need to do this, and you need to. And so I was like, okay, no, see, no, none of that shit feels good to me.
Right.
I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I don't like it. I'm not doing that. But I think that's a space that, especially when you first come into this spiritual space and you're listening to different gurus and this one and that one, you got Gabby Bernstein over here talking whatever she's talking. And then you got, what's her name? Sonia Choquette over here saying what she's saying. And
I
and
don't
you
know who
got,
any of those people are.
okay, they're just spiritual people. Gabby is a big one because she was the one that did was it Wanderlust or something like that? Wanderlust or something. I don't know, but it was a big old movement or something some years back. But anyway, so it was like, okay, you got all these people. But are you listening to your guidance, your team?
But that I think they want you to listen to them so much that you shut your team out.
Just like the kids.
Yes. But
You want
see,
to
like,
shut it down, shut it down.
yeah. But that's why I teach even like the outline that I have in my Divine Channeling Academy, like I created it because when I learned to channel, I learned it in one way. And it would come through like I still to this day, like I have a program that I have to start creating in a couple months with Commander Ashtar. And let me tell you, that man, like he will just come in and just like, oh, and I'm like, oh my God. And I have to like, no, I can't trans channel with you right now. And he's like, no, this needs to be heard. And so it happens in more than one way. And so the way that I wanted when I went into the Channeling Academy, when I was talking to Isis, is like, okay, like I need that fluidness though. Like I need them to create their sayings, create this so that they don't feel like they're copying and running into that same issue that I did, where I know how to do this one way. I need it to be open so that they feel confident. And when they are going forward in their businesses, they they get it and they can go forward with ease and know that they're doing it authentically because that's really
Yes. And I feel like that puts people in their grace
yeah.
because I always was the type where, people would come because I've been I laugh. I said I've been wisdom for a long time. And
Mhm.
so people would come to me and ask me stuff because they knew that I was wisdom. And a lot of times I didn't know. I didn't know. I was like, oh my God, they keep asking me stuff. But and I would tell them and it would be wisdom. And they would come back later and be like, oh, remember when you told me so and so and so and so? And of course I didn't remember. And so I was like, okay. And so, but I was like, but I don't want to set myself up for judgment. That was my thinking. I don't want to be judged. And then when I started on YouTube, girl, and I had so many hateful people, girl. They would be telling me, somebody told me I was the devil, I was Satan's spawn. Girl, I mean, you'd be surprised at some of the stuff that I endured through doing this work. Like I used to do readings all the time on Facebook, and girl, I would have trolls coming in with craziness and and it was always the devil too. It was always the devil.
I never
And
get
I
any
Girl, I think it's because I came from that space and I'm
oh
sensitive. I was sensitive to it. Now I
that's
don't give a fuck,
a
but at
lesson.
that time I was sensitive because I came out of that space. Like my family, a lot of them are ministers and evangelists and apostles and fucking all types of shit. They got all
Mhm.
kinds of things going on in that arena. And so I came from that, and on the other one side they're Jehovah Witnesses. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's a whole bunch of trauma, I say, but
Yeah.
I call it cult trauma, but
You had some lessons to learn.
right. So I was like, okay, but but yeah, so just get into that space where you can, get in there and be open to be able to receive what you need from your own spiritual team. I
Yes.
think that's huge,
Oh yeah.
huge. All right, so we're gonna land this plane, but I have a question that I ask all of my guests, and I've got to ask you because I've never gotten the same answer.
Okay.
So, if there's anything in the world that you would like to see changed or that you want to change, what would that be?
Nothing.
Ooh,
Because there's a reason though. Because the world is already shifting and people all have their own journeys. And
Mm,
without the hardship, without the lessons, without their journeys, they wouldn't, like, look at you. You have this amazing relationship now, but without the previous relationships, you wouldn't have been where you are. So if we were to change things, then people wouldn't get the same lessons to get them to where they need to be.
mm.
It has to, it's either you're creating a reality that is so full of abundance and love and joy, or you're creating a reality full of misery. Depends on which one you want to come from. But seriously, eventually it's all going to shift to something amazing, because whether it's in this lifetime or the next, it'll all get to where people are awakening and being beautiful.
I love that. And you know what? I've not ever gotten that answer. That is so amazing. Okay, so what give some words to someone that may have been in your shoes, coming into this space, opening up to the channeling that was already there for you and that you already knew, but now you're at this place of confidence where no. So give some advice to that person, or also and also someone that would come in to work with you. So give some advice to those people as we land this plane.
I would say keep going and don't listen to the naysayers.
Mm, I love that.
Keep listening to that feeling and that inspiration that's inside of you, because it's going to guide you, and that's you speaking. That's your soul, that's your higher self and your team all coming together to help you go forward and embrace who you're meant to be. So keep going and don't listen to anything else.
Oh, that's so powerful. I love that. Oh, I love that so much. It's so powerful because, that's something that a lot of people don't get. You know what I mean? It's like there's not a space where, people are getting that type of encouragement because you need it.
Yes, you do.
Because this space can be challenging.
Oh yeah. Especially
All
when
right.
the emotions are hit and the hard times hit, but you'll get through it. And oh, and my favorite I think would be when those moments hit, don't fight it. Just go with it, because then you're gonna get through it. Be like the bull and go through it. I think I seen that the other day. A bull will go walk into the storm instead of away from it. Walk
Yeah.
into the storm.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. Um, that's like the perfect analogy.
I
Because
don't
that's what the hell it looks like is a storm. When you're in the middle of it. You're like, oh my God. So that analogy was spot on and perfect. All right. So just if you have any invitations that you'd like to invite people into, as we start to land this plane to a close.
Join my group, Path Prosperity on Facebook. It's epic.
Yeah. And you'll be able to find out any other thing that she's got going on as well.
Oh yeah, we
The
do a lot.
Academy.
Yes. And then I also have membership programs, exclusive memberships. You check out my website at shantanatelisehealing.com, and I have a lot going on. A lot of sessions, a lot of programs.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So this has been so amazing. I am so grateful that Shantana has joined me today because I've been wanting this lady on my virtual couch now for a while. And
Oh,
now was the time. It's divine timing. So I'm so grateful because we have had such an amazing time. You guys, I hope that you enjoyed this show because it's been so much fun for me. And I don't know about anybody else, but that's what I call into my life is more fun. Like I want everything to be fun. I don't I don't want drudgery and misery. So I'm just grateful. And Shantana is such an amazing guest. Such
well,
amazing.
thank you so much for
Yes.
having me on. It has really been an incredible experience.
It has, right?
Yeah, I'm very grateful. Like, I love this, and I hope you like get booked out with this because it's incredible. Everybody should come on and be a guest on your show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's actually, that's my goal for this year, as we, came into this year. I was setting I wasn't really, I don't do like New Year's, those things. I don't do them. They never work. So I just kind of set intentions for, where I want my life to go. And I look at what happened last year and, I start projecting as well, and so that was one of the things I was like, I really do. I love doing my show. So I was like, okay, so now it's time to monetize. So that's something that, that I'm working with now because it's like, okay, this is time to take this up to another level, so I've been enjoying it and I have so much fun because I get to geek out and talk about shit I like,
Yeah.
that you can't always talk about with everybody, right?
Oh.
So I'm like, yeah, these are my people. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
super, super grateful. So again, thank y'all for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching. And if you are listening on Spotify or whatever the other places that you can listen, because this show is on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Listen Now, Radio Breaker, Podbean, Apple, Google, and other places. Wherever you can listen to your podcast, you can listen to this one. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe wherever you are listening or watching. And we really just appreciate you joining us and being here. So, again, thank you so much for joining us. Shantana, thank you for joining me. I am so honored and I just salute the divinity in you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's been incredible. You're
Awesome.
amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.